45 and 52. The final chapter. It kind of sounds more ominous, but it's not as bad as it sounds. Basically, by this time tomorrow, actually not by this time tomorrow, if you want to be technical about it, tomorrow I won't be 45 anymore. I'll be 46. So this is the grand finale of this little experiment. I'm going to tell you up front that I've tried to make this as digestible as possible. It's not something I was looking to get views on or anything like that, but I appreciate anybody who's come by and certainly given any advice. Brian LCS comes to mind, of course, Three Good Nerds, Doug Bratton. Anybody who's come here and just to even say, hey, hang in there, I appreciate that. I've kind of prided myself on trying to keep these things short. So this one I'm going to go a little bit longer on, just to give you a heads up, because it's the last one. All in all, I'll have to say this is a year that I'm not going to say it was a busy year, but I'll say that more things happened this year that I didn't plan on or I didn't expect on happening. It started shortly after my birthday last year when I changed jobs for the first time in 17 years. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of been, it's been going well at my new employer. I hope that, hope I'm there for a while. We'll say it like that. And, I'm really, there seems like there's a lot of opportunity there. And I already feel like I've learned a whole lot. Was with one company for a long time and I was like, oh, okay, well, I know how to do all this. And now it's like, oh, okay, so this is how you do it. I went from a giant company to a very small company. But that being said, I think the environment I work in is a lot better. Not to say anything was wrong with where I was working, but I'll say this: I'm enjoying my professional experience more, if that makes sense. One kind of shift that kind of came to me, didn't really occur to me until earlier this week, is that for the first time, I'm not one of the younger people in the company. I'm actually, as far as I know, on our floor, I think the second or third oldest. And that, age doesn't really matter. Everybody gets along very well, but I can't help but feel this was maybe a move I should have done sooner. And I don't like to talk in those terms because the way I see it, you are where you are for a reason, and these things lead you in different ways. If I had switched companies earlier, I wouldn't maybe be in the department I'm in, for example. On a bigger scale, my wife and I have these discussions all the time. We met a little bit later in life, at least for me, and that's why, I'm going to be 46 years old with a 3.5-year-old, technically. Not quite yet half, but round up. The way I see it is just, don't question the process. Just keep the destination, if you will, in mind. It's been pretty transformative as far as me as a collector goes. I'm no longer let's say a pull box holder. I was trying to figure out a way to say that, of the former LCS I'd been going to for 24 years, which, to be honest with you, now that I'm about a month or so out after that discussion, makes me kind of feel that I probably should have left the LCS a long time ago. Not to say anything against them or anything like that. Honestly, I always had little kind of like, oh, it's kind of weird you didn't put this book in my box. I've been getting this book forever. Is it because a new character debuts in this book that I didn't get it for some reason? Little things like that. And I always kind of blew it off as, oh, well, it's a small operation and they're going to take care of me, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you're just another number. I've also learned this year really kind of how to prioritize things, I think, a little bit better. In terms of not just comics, of course, but greater things in life. I've had a great set of friends since college, but I've come to learn that you have to remember that friends and family will not always do what they should do. And I'm not knocking all of them. There was a situation I think I talked about, if I'm not mistaken, in the fall. And it's still lingering, and it's kind of a shame because it's really kind of hurt. Oh, hold on. I had to interrupt myself. Yeah, I mean, honestly, family first, your immediate family first. Everything else is kind of secondary. Speaking of family, although we're not patched up, I guess you could say I started talking to some of my siblings more. Nothing ground-shattering or groundbreaking. I'm not expecting any kind of big overnight shifts or changes, but, I've let my position be known, and I'll continue to do so. So maybe that'll lead somewhere better, maybe it won't, in terms of how we interact with each other, and specifically how my family is treated, my wife and my children. But we shall see. Yeah, I mean, look, I've had some banner moments this year, too. For the first time, I've had my artwork published in a comic book, Condry, Prayer for the Dying, and I'm very proud of that, and I continue to talk about how proud I am of that. And, we've got some things maybe in the works, so stay tuned for that. Even artwork, I've kind of learned to prioritize a little bit, too. For example, this month, I really didn't have a whole lot of time to draw. That's just kind of how it is. Some bigger kind of life things have taken precedence that, we're not going to really see to fruition until next year. All in all, year 45 was good. Wasn't, again, like gangbusters, wasn't anything too dramatic. And luckily, we didn't have any great disasters. As far as what the future holds, I'm going to prioritize this year more now than ever health over everything else. I had a couple missteps this past year that I feel like I need to correct, not just for myself, but for my wife and for my children. That's just how it goes. Speaking of them, we're looking to, hopefully finally get a bigger house in the next year. That might be a challenge because prices, especially here in North Jersey, not very good. And I hear that from other areas of the country as well. And some other things too, like we're going to most likely need a new car, just because wife, 2 kids, our car's full when we travel. So a bigger one might be needed. That's not as big a priority, of course, as the house, because worst case scenario, it's like, look, I can't come over. We've got too many kids, or we don't have enough space. But other than that, I'm going to just kind of keep on doing what I'm doing. YouTube, I've been kind of not as active. Again, just bigger issues going on. Still kind of sort out exactly where I am as far as if I'm going to, or when I'm going to resume live streaming, why don't we say. And that was kind of brought on by the fact that StreamYard increased their prices way too much. And really made me kind of reassess exactly what I'm doing here. All in all, like I said, it was a good year. I'm not going to continue, I think, a vlog series into next year. And I should say this, it really kind of shifted doing this, trying to attempt to do something every week, which we didn't do it every week. I'm not trying to say I did. Made me kind of realize, look, you don't have to have something going on week to week. Sometimes it's good to stop and pause and just breathe. I kind of felt the pressure early on, like, oh, what happened to me this week? Oh, nothing. And then it realized, like, look, am I going to come on just to say, hey, nothing happened, see you later? No, but I'm also not going to be the type of person, I think, to find tragedy or to find fault in whatever may be going on. That's just kind of how it is. So this might be our last time talking or interacting through a vlog. If I do anything, I kind of like what Brian LCS does, where he just kind of takes little minutes out of the entire month and puts them together. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, to be honest with you, because that still takes a lot of, I think, repetition. I don't have dogs to walk. Brian's dogs look awesome, by the way. What are they, corgis, I think? If we had a dog, I'd go for corgis, but I know that they could get a little pricey. And the area I live in, we have a lot of wildlife, and particularly we have some eagles that live on the lake. So any little dog, I'm sure, would be a nice appetizer for an eagle. But I digress. listen, if you came here and you've watched one episode of this series or you've watched them all, I want to thank you for taking some time just to hear me whine about everything and nothing at all. I'm not going to go with the full lyrics now. I particularly want to thank anybody who's reached out and given any type of advice or even just words of encouragement. Again, top of mind is Brian, Three Good Nerds, Doug, I think Joe Travato from Anachronic a couple times. If I'm forgetting you, it's not that I don't appreciate you. It's just I'm in a parking lot on a Sunday morning, and I got to get back home. So I guess this is a good place to end this. Thanks again for checking this out. It's been a great year, and I hope that of course I'll fumble at the 10-yard line. It's been a good year, and I know that this next year is going to be a great one, and I hope it's great for you too. Thanks again.